Hello everyone, it's Joe here from Draft FPL and we are back with a new series. I'm not going to be doing it every week, but I'm definitely going to hit maybe one a month. I'm going to be doing a series on one of my draft teams where I happened to pick Harry Kane in my first pick. I was pick number 3. The draft happened at kind of the worst possible moment where Spurs had just rejected Bayern's final bid, allegedly. And the bookies had it about 75-80% that Kane was going to stay. I thought he was going to stay anyway. I got kind of swindled into the worst possible moment to do a draft. I just so happened to get third pick. I had Kane at third in my rankings at the time. If you missed the live stream where this happened, there is a clip of me here. Right, here we go. Where are we going to... Come on, give me first pick. Please give me first pick. I've not had a Haaland ever. Third, it's Kane. Third pick, it's Kane. Oh, I'm scared. I'm doing it. I'm just going to do it. It's hard to take Kane. 75% is high. And I do think he'll stay. As you can see, I was very, very stressed at the time. Well, the rest of the draft happened. The team looked really good if Kane stayed. Not quite so good if he left, but I was pretty happy with how the draft went. Kane obviously then left, which left me in a pretty bad state. So I'm just going to do a little series on throughout the season on managing a team without your first pick, because there's plenty more people that have had this happen to. It's not just Kane as well. Obviously KDB looks like he's out for half the season as well. So let's move on to the team and see how we did in game week 1. So game week 1, I hadn't yet got rid of Kane. He is there on my bench. I kept him until the very last minute just in case, just to see what happened. I did manage to pick up a win, which is great news. 43 points is a little bit below where I would have liked to have been. I generally think 45 points is about the cut-off. Above that, you normally get a win. Below that, you normally get a loss in a 10-man league, which this is. So yeah, it was an okay week. 43 is a real dicey score, whether you're going to get a win or not, but I did manage to pick up the win, so I was happy that. I was pretty happy with how the team performed. There's a couple of players I'm concerned about. Mason Mount is definitely one of them. There's a few more that have gone. I did make a last minute pickup in this league where we kind of got a little bit of a leak on Twitter that John Stones wasn't going to start and was injured. So I did pick up Rico Lewis sharpish, which paid off because he did manage to get the clean sheet in that game week 1. There's a few players I'm really happy with. Luis Diaz, Jackson, Chilwell. I think these are all really good picks. Edouard played well as well. Gordon had a good game. Szoboszlai looked alright. So I'm happy with the team overall, but there is going to be lots of changes throughout the season for sure. So this is how the league table looks after game week 1. Smack bang in the middle, lowest team to win. I'm not surprised there. As I said, around 45 points is generally sort of the cut-off that I'm aiming for. So it's just under that, but I did manage to get a win to start the season, which is all that matters at this stage. This also kind of helped me a little bit because even though I did get the win, I am significantly higher up the waiver rankings than if I'd had a really good week. So it's not the end of the world. It could end up being best case scenario depending on how the waivers fall. But yeah, I'm happy. So this is how the team was looking for game week 2 pre-waivers. Obviously Kane is going to be going. No point keeping him now. Chukwuemeka I think is going to go as well. Chelsea have signed Caicedo and Lavia, and I think that's probably going to push Chukwuemeka out the team for the time being. So that's fine. He'll go. That gives me a midfielder waiver to look for, and I think Aguerd will probably go as well. I only really had him for the game week 1 fixture. Their fixtures aren't great now anyway, so he'll go as well. That gives me a mid, a forward and a defender to look at in the waivers, which is nice because I like to be able to fiddle around with those. Other than that, the team's in pretty good shape. It's obviously missing that big name, but we'll see if we can make up for that with smart waiver picks every week. So, on to replacing Kane. Now, this league is a 10-man league. It's my pyramid team. So I'm currently in League 1, which is the 3rd division of 5. I only started last year, so I started in League 2 last year. The 5th division was added this year. So I got promotion last year, up to League 1 this year, 3rd division. It's a very competitive league, to be honest. A lot of the managers are very switched on. It's not one where I'm going to get lots of freebie good waiver picks. So looking at the forwards specifically, because obviously Kane is the most needed replacement. So these were the top available forwards that played in game week 1. And there's nothing here really that excites me. The 2 names I think that are most likely to come in from this list are Mopé and Raul Jimenez. Now, I suspect both of these clubs will sign a forward. I'm sure Everton will sign a forward. There's rumours today linking them with Che Adams. I think that's a pretty good signing. I want no part in Mopé. He had so many chances in game week 1, failed to put any of them away. I'm just not interested, so I'm not going there. Raul Jimenez, I just think he's lost his touch a little bit, and I'm not particularly interested there. I think with regards to Fulham, it looks like Mitrovic is going to go. If he stays, then I think he gets the shirt back, and I think he'll be number 1 and Jimenez will be on the bench. If he goes, I'm pretty certain Fulham will sign a striker anyway. I don't think they're going to go into the season with Jimenez as their first choice striker, so I'm not really interested in him either. The rest of the players on this list don't really do much for me either. The only 2 that returned were Semenyo and Brown. Both of them came off the bench, and I don't think they're going to start going forward, so that's not really of interest to me. Foster is someone I could look at, but he's got a blank this week anyway, so I don't need to go there. No one's going to pick him up for this game week. Kiefer Moore, not interested. He's not going to start. The rest of them, not going to start either. The only player that's just cropped off the bottom there is Michail Antonio. Now, there is a world in which he starts, but it seems like West Ham are desperate to play basically anyone else. And he's pretty injury prone, and he's not that prolific. So again, not really interested. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, well, you might as well just keep Kane if you're not going to pick anyone else up. There is someone I'm interested in that's not on this list, and I'll cover him very shortly when I look at the team. But I don't want to pick up a player just for the sake of it. I either want to pick someone up that I'm going to start this game week because I think they're going to do well, or I'm going to pick someone up that has the potential to become a good pick in the future, and that's where I'm going with this. So these were the waivers that I actually set before the waiver deadline last night. There was news come out yesterday that Reece James looked like he hasn't picked up another hamstring injury. So Malo Gusto goes right to the top of my waiver list. Chelsea's fixtures are unbelievable, so he's definitely someone looking in. I've got him at priority number 1. Wan-Bissaka is free and looks like it's going to be his spot in the United defence. So I've got him in at number 2, despite the fact that they don't have the best fixture this game week. But I think long term he's probably a decent pick. Number 3, the midfielder slot, Abdoulaye Doucouré I've gone for. I think he might cause some problems against the Villa high line. I thought about putting him in my waiver video this week actually, but I ended up deciding against it and going for McGinn instead, who I've also put in a waiver for. But looking at it a little bit more long term, Doucouré's fixtures are pretty good over the sort of medium to long term, and if they do sign a striker, and if it is someone like Che Adams, then I think Doucouré's potential could go up a little bit more. So I have put him in at number 3. Then we've got Aurier for Aguerd and Aurier for Rico Lewis as well. McGinn for Chukwuemeka just in case I don't get Doucouré. And then the forward that I've gone for, I've put him at the bottom of the priority because it's not urgent. I've just taken a punt on Balogun because Arsenal are really keen to sell him. They're claiming they're looking for like 40-50 million. There's plenty of Premier League clubs interested. Fulham, West Ham and even Spurs apparently are looking at signing him. Now, I think Arsenal have been quoting 50 million to clubs. I don't think they'll hold out for that. I think he'll probably go for about 40 million would be my guess. I don't think they'll sell him to Spurs. I just don't see that happening at all unless Spurs are ready to pay like 70, 80. Arsenal are going to put a massive premium on him if Spurs come in. But I do think Fulham or West Ham might end up going there, in which case I think he becomes a brilliant option. He's scored plenty of goals at various levels. He did really well in Ligue 1 last year, and I think he's ready for the Premier League challenge. He's just not quite ready for the Arsenal step up, and he's made it pretty clear that he wants to go. So I think as there was no option, if there was like an Edouard or a Cunha, I would have just gone for them. But neither of those were free. None of the options really did anything for me. So I felt like it's better to just take a punt, leave him on the bench for a few weeks and see if I can get something out of it. So waivers are processed. This is the team that I've currently got. Steele in goal, Chilwell, Lewis, Gusto, Konate the back four, Luis Diaz, Mount, Szoboszlai, Doucouré in midfield, Edouard and Jackson up front. Bench of Vicario, Gordon, Stones and Balogun. I've got Stones on the bench at the moment. He's not flagged yet in FPL, but there are a lot of rumours going around that he's pulled his hamstring and has a new injury. And that is actually the reason why I've held on to Rico Lewis. The plan was to drop him this week. I only really picked him up because he was confirmed in the lineup last week. But if Stones is injured, it does make me think that Lewis has a pretty good chance of keeping his place. He played pretty well against Burnley. I do think he has a decent chance of staying in the lineup if Stones in fact is injured, so I'll wait for a bit more news on that today and we'll see. If Stones isn't injured, then he'll go into the lineup and Rico Lewis will become someone else and he won't survive in the team any longer. Obviously Balogun at the back of the bench, he's just there as a long-term maybe. The only person I considered starting is Anthony Gordon, but I just think that everyone else has far better fixtures, and so he is the one that is sacrificed first on the bench. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this team. I think it looks quite strong. Again, it doesn't have that firepower of a big first round name, but I'm gonna have to just try and make up for that with savvy waivers each week. So hopefully we get another win in game week 2. As I said, I won't be doing one of these every single week. I'll probably do them every 3 or 4 weeks just to keep up with what's been going on the team and how I'm managing it to try and still get to the top of the league without my first pick, Harry Kane. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you like these kind of videos alongside the sort of normal waiver picks, then let me know down in the comments and I'll try and make an effort to make a few more of stuff in this style. If you have any advice or questions you want answered, let me know down in the comments. I try to get to as many as I can, but there are quite a lot these days. So if you want a guaranteed answer, then the thing to do is join the Patreon. Link to that down below as well. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you next time.